So guys, welcome back to the channel. This right here is a Samsung Fit 3, and this is actually the primary watch that I normally wear on a regular basis. Now, don't judge me. The color is rose gold. I like the way it looks. I actually have multiple bands for this watch that I ordered off of Amazon, but for video purposes, I am going to show you how this watch looks in its original boxing, basically with the entire gold band and whatnot. Now, the price tag, I believe, is about $60. I'm not sure how much Samsung sells it for. I think that's the regular price, but you can find it a little bit cheaper on Amazon depending on the type of sale that you look for. I'll leave a link in the description. Don't make $1 off of this, just so that you guys can just find it on Amazon for a reasonable price. It works well. It's great. I love this watch, and I'm surprised that they're selling it for as cheap as they are with all the features that it has. It's really good, believe it or not. But anyway, let's get into this review and talk about it. You're going to hear me stutter a lot because it is early in the morning, but I just wanted to get this video out here for you guys before I get to my big reviews coming out real soon. But anyway, let's get into it and not waste any more time. So when you unbox everything, the two most important things in this watch is obviously the charger and the watch itself. Now, this guy does actually come in multiple colors. You have a silver, you have a black, and then you have the rose gold. I actually like rose gold, believe it or not, and I actually have my own band for this because they actually, if you flip it over on the back, you see this little button right here. You press that in, and the band pops right off, super easy to take apart. And you just place this back inside. And if you go on Amazon, or I'm assuming the Samsung website, there are actual bands that you can buy for replacement. I normally use a Velcro one, but for video reasons, because the box came with the actual rose gold, that's what I'm actually using. And they do actually have accessories for cases and things like that, in case you're wondering. So you have full customization of this watch. Now, if you flip this over, you have your little sensors on the back right here. This is the charger itself, which it is USB-C on one end. And over here, for people that may not like USB-C charging, you do have the option for a dongle. Now, this did not come with this cord, but I'm just letting you know that it's easier for some people to connect it to like a computer or something like that in order to charge it. To each their own, right? I don't mind that. Now, on the back, see this right here? Just make sure you line up the contacts. If you put it this way, you're going to feel that magnetic part rejecting it because that's not the way it's supposed to go. So you're going to actually face this like this. Just show you how to do that. And when you stick this onto the back of the watch, it will start charging practically immediately when you plug it inside of the charger itself. Now, the only downside, in my opinion, is that when you charge this, for whatever reason, the watch actually powers on when you do that. I don't really think it's a big deal, but it's similar to what Apple does, where every time you charge your watch, it's going to automatically power on the moment you do that. So it's not a big detail that's going to be a problem for anyone, but it is something to just kind of keep in mind when you're actually charging your watch. Now, what you're here for, the actual features. So you have a 1.6-inch screen that is actually an AMOLED display. You have IP68 for water, sweat resistance, things like that. So if you're running, jogging, you're in the gym, this is going to work for you perfectly fine. Believe it or not, this actually has on-screen display if you choose to use it, and it boasts a 13-day battery life with a 208 mAh battery inside. Now, what I do want to say, I've used this watch on a regular basis. I get about a good 5 days of battery life on it with the amount of notifications that I use. I leave it on 24 hours a day. I sleep with the watch so it can track my sleep progress and things like that. So the more you use it, the more the battery will die. But if you have minimal applications on your phone, if you don't really do much texting and things like that, and people constantly responding in phone calls, you can definitely get that 13-day battery life. When I tried it on a phone that I didn't use as my primary, it did last as long as advertised, so they're not lying about that. But I do want to also say that if you have the always on display on, this is going to die fast, trust me. Like I lost maybe about 40% in one day with the always on display with a higher not higher refresh rate, but it was actually, the brightness was turned up. I turned adaptive brightness off. I don't really like that in different situations, and it did die faster, but again, it still doesn't die as fast as a traditional smartwatch that you would normally use, like Apple or a Samsung watch. Those only last long if you have the Pro models of both those watches. Now let's look at some of the features. So if you want to see notifications on your phone, like text messages or emails and things, you're going to swipe over here, and that's how you see the weather, some of my notifications right here. And it's actually very smooth interface. I love how smooth this is. If you tap into it, it does show you what you see here, similar to a Samsung watch, But a lot of Samsung watches, when you receive pictures or different things like that, you can actually view it from the watch. You can't text back from this watch, unfortunately, and you can't actually dial out from this watch because it doesn't have sound in it. It's a vibrate-only feature, I believe. So just keep that in mind. So if you want a nice quiet watch, it's a Fitbit without buying a Fitbit that has decent battery life. To me, this is definitely my go-to. I use this on a regular basis. Whenever I buy a new watch or if I sell a watch, this is always my default watch that I use. Now, if you go over here, here's some of the features. Now, I did reset this watch originally so you can see it in its original glory before I made any major edits. You have your steps, calories burning, stuff right here. You have your little workout section. Oops, let me tap the skip. Let me go back here real fast. My bad, guys. So right here, you have these features, bike, different stuff like that. Can I turn it off? Let me see if I can turn that off. Allow me to turn it off. I'll worry about it later. It'll finish later. You have your sleep schedule, which you can actually set this up with the Samsung Health app. If you decide to do that, you can add weather. You have the calendar events from your phone and whatnot. You can sync that between each other. You can even change your music. Like for me, I use Power Amp. So I can change my songs, pause my songs, turn up the volume, things like that, all from the watch itself. Which again, for that $60 price tag, regular price, that is not bad at all. And again, you can find it for like $40 to $50 on Amazon, which I'll put that link in there. I'm going to keep repeating that because I love this watch. Right here, you have your heart rate. Now, unfortunately, I don't believe this does anything like blood oxygen level and all those extra features. You are going to pay a lot more money for that. And you do have the option to add more tiles too for a full customizable experience. Now, if we go backwards and pull down this menu right here, you have your settings menu. You have this right here where it says mute or vibrate. That's all you get. Remember, there's no sound profile. You have the power button right here, which allows you to turn it off and turn it on. But I'm going to go backwards because I don't want to do that right now. And if you slide over, you have your airplane mode. You have, what is this, like a, the brightness itself. I actually thought for a moment that that was going to be the a flashlight. It's weird that some watches come with flashlights. But you also have the water mode where it locks itself. And if you're, heavy rain, riding a bike, doing certain exercises, you want to make sure that you don't do any accidental touches. Nothing's going to happen until you hold this button and the water lock actually comes off. It'll actually vibrate when you hold it for a certain amount of time. And of course, you do have customizable faces and things like that. But let's go over that in the next section. I just wanted to show you that, yeah, this is a pretty good watch so far, and it does exactly what it needs to do without all the bells and whistles. So let's talk about some of the features of the actual watch itself and the customization. So right here, you have band settings, you have Find My Band, you have tips and user guides. So for the person out here that doesn't have the actual user manual, which to be honest with you, it's been a while. I don't remember if it came with one, but you have the option to go ahead and tap this and it'll show you how to actually use your devices in case of an emergency and amongst other things. Very simple explanations. Now, when it comes to watch faces, these are the options that you actually have right here. You can scroll over on some of these. Not many. It's not too many watch faces. It doesn't have that huge customization as the traditional Galaxy watches, but again, it's a Fitbit version, and I do appreciate a lot of the watch faces that they currently have. Of course, mine is the picture that you see up top that you saw earlier in this video. You have the option for app screens right here, where you can actually decide what does what. If you choose to customize your watch, you have your tiles right here. So remember in the beginning video where I swiped left to right, you actually customize these the way that you want to and decide what screens you want to pop up, if any. In addition to that, these are the options from Samsung Health to connected devices to clock. You have schedules and weather and things like that. The customization isn't too amazing or anything, but it's enough where you don't have to actually pull out your phone to see a lot of your settings. Over here, let's see what we have. Band settings, as a matter of fact. You do have the option to sign into a Samsung account. I do suggest that so it can just remember a lot of your settings in case of theft and things like that. But you can always skip that feature if you choose to. You have notifications, which allows you to mute notifications on the phone. You can have it where if you're wearing the watch, notifications won't pop up. Matter of fact, instead of telling you, I'll just show you. Right here, app notifications, I turn it on for everything. So from Amazon, Backbone, Canva, Cash App, Chrome, Call of Duty, no matter what it is, emails, all of that pops up on my watch. Now, I can't view it the same way as a traditional phone because the screen doesn't have that functionality, but I can see the headline of the email and what's inside of it. I will have to actually click into my phone in order to see if there's some type of attachable file in order to view it, so just keep that in mind. You have the option for advanced settings, which allows you to turn on the screen whenever notification shows up. Show with details, I keep that on. Notification indicator is a little orange light on, not, I'm sorry, not orange light, an orange symbol on the front of your phone that lets you know you have a notification. And if you remember earlier in the video, I showed you how to check notifications versus looking at your actual tiles and responses. Right here, you have your health application. Now, I do want to say that with health applications, you can use Samsung Health along with this application. This is Samsung Wearable right here. The health application actually goes a little bit deeper into seeing the settings. If you decide to set like a diet and different things like that, I'll show it to you in the next section for a few minutes, but it's very self-explanatory. To be honest, most people probably won't end up downloading that application, which you will be missing out on quite a few features, but it's not enough to say that the watch will be worthless or anything like that. Samsung Wearable is the application that actually allows you to sync the watch. You have to have that guaranteed in order to use this watch application. And outside of that, whether you have the option to switch it between Celsius and Fahrenheit, things like that, just everyday basic features. Now, my suggestion is to go through the process of using the watch and see how it factors into how you decide to use it, because each person uses it individually differently. My main screen, I don't need to see the steps. I don't need to see the battery life of the watch. I prefer having a background photo to give a little bit more personality. But again, check the application out itself. It's very self-explanatory. For each option that you click on through display, it's just so easy to use. As a matter of fact, I turned off the adaptive brightness, and I also turned off the always on display. Now, some people like that, where it'll always show the time, it'll always show what's happening in the background, and then when you flip your wrist up, the picture matches whatever it is that you're looking at. Now, always on display does considerably kill the battery. Like, that 13-day battery life that it claims will not happen with always on display. It'll actually kill it at least by half, in my opinion, because I was just running through Battery Meter yesterday when I was checking it out on the weekend, because I figured, let me just do a recap of all the features before posting it for you guys to see. But anyway, you have the screen timeout, raise the wake, touch the wake. You can show media controls for anyone that doesn't know what media is. Let's say YouTube videos. Let's say you're using Power Amp or some type of music application. You could change songs, pause and play directly from your watch rather than having to pull out your phone. Though, again, realistically, if you're in a setting where you're walking down the street, you're probably going to pull out your phone to be able to actually see the category of music, whether you have your own playlist and things like that. This is only going to be able to change the next song, not necessarily the entire playlist. The functionality is pretty limited overall for a watch when you compare it to the traditional Samsung watches, but it still does enough where you should be fine. So with that being said, I don't want to make this a super long part. It's already 5 minutes long. It's not a bad watch at all. Let's go into the next section. Now, when it comes to the Samsung Health right here, this is very similar to the Wearable app, but it's not a necessity, but it is still good to have. So it shows you your steps, your calorie outtake for the person out there that may change their watch face, but still wants to see how well they're doing with their everyday exercises and things like that. That's what the Samsung Health is for. Now, I do want to say, and this is an unfortunate part, that the traditional Samsung watches normally tell you to get up and exercise and do all these things. This one doesn't more so do it. Well, at least before the update that this watch had recently, it didn't do it. I still don't see it telling me to get up and exercise, but when you start exercising, it does record whether you're riding on a bike. It knows whether, well, it kind of confuses a bike with a scooter. So kind of keep that in mind if you're in a motorized vehicle. If you're running or walking or jogging, it will let you know how long you've been doing that thing, and it will record it for the Samsung records. That's why I say it's good to sign into Samsung itself and make sure that you do, in fact, use your email. You can put in your height and weight and things like that to factor in what kind of workout that you actually want to do. It has a sleeping coach where it'll handle issues, like it'll keep your blood pressure and blood oxygen level and stuff while you're asleep. So it is full of jam-packed of features. Now, this may look a little confusing initially when you go into these applications, but if you take your time, sit down and just click on things, each section basically gives you an explanation of what it does and just walks you through how to actually customize your watch to the best of your ability and to the best of your lifestyle, so you don't have to worry about things moving forward. Just keep that in mind. So, in conclusion, I don't think that this is a bad watch at all. If I'm being completely honest here, the only thing that it's missing is not even the sound profile. It would be nice if they did an update where you can answer calls directly from the watch, but it'll go straight to your phone or to your Bluetooth. I know that's something that Fitbit did, and Samsung decided to just keep that I guess, separated. So I guess some people don't really care about answering calls directly from their watch and having it go to their earbuds, while some people do. The traditional Samsung watches can do that, but unfortunately the Fitbit 3 can't. And outside of that, I don't think there's really anything bad to say about this. It doesn't have a sound profile, so for the person out there that wanted to make custom ringtones, unfortunately you can't do that. But this band is a Fitbit. It's meant for fitness tracking. It's meant for health overall. And the fact that it has the notifications for, what is it called? Text messages, emails, and things like that, it's just a plus to me. And it's very comfortable. I can honestly say that even though the screen is pretty small, it's a 1.6 inch screen, most watches for this price point don't work this well, don't have this type of software support, don't have an AMOLED screen, and don't have a smoothness or these features for the asking price. There's probably no watch that you can find that's third party that's going to be better than this right here and have that same Samsung logo, that Samsung stamp, that those software updates, the features, the customization. It's just a good watch overall, and it's one of my go-to watches on a regular basis. So I don't think you'll go wrong on the price tag. Now, for the person out there that is used to using a Samsung Watch 6 or a Samsung Watch Ultra or something like that, you're probably going to look a little bit down on this watch because it doesn't have all the features that you want. But again, if you're going to the gym, you're doing certain things, not everybody wants a big, bulky, huge watch that takes up this much part of their wrist. They may want something a little bit smaller, something that's easy to go out with, that you can wear on a regular basis, something that's comfortable, that you can wear to sleep in order to keep your blood level and things like that. And this watch really hits the mark on that. So anyway, like and subscribe like always. I will see you guys in the next video. Like I said, if you made it to the end of this video, there will be a link in the description. I don't make $1 off of this video, but I just want you guys to be able to find it for an affordable price with Amazon Prime, and that's pretty much it. Peace.